Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. This night we're going to be taking a look at one of the best sculptures and paint jobs of the Big Chap alien that's ever been done. When we talk about the Big Chap alien, we're referring, for those of you who are not into science fiction or horror movies, we're referring to the monster from the classic movie Alien, starring Sigourney Weaver as the character Ellen Ripley, directed by Ridley Scott. And this is considered a classic of science fiction and horror, and of course this monster is at the center of it. The monster was designed by a gentleman named H.R. Giger. This is his most famous creation, and Giger is kind of known for creating these amazingly creepy designs in his art that's like a mixture of the technological and the organic. And again, nothing more famous than his alien monstrosity. So this is a resin kit sculpted and produced by Bill Weiger. It's quite old, a couple years old, and this particular paint job is by the great Chase Smith. Before getting into the details of the sculpt and all that, a little discussion about sort of the standard and what's out there. This monster was obviously very, very popular. It's from that, again, a classic movie. So a lot of various representations, poses, statues of him have been made over the years. If you want to narrow it down to the best of the best, ignoring all of the weird little toys and plastic figures, hot toys, etc. If you're talking about museum level quality, there's, in my mind, three major pieces. I think most alien collectors and aficionados would agree. So you have the Cinemaquette 1/3 scale at the top of the food chain, the biggest one, and that was sculpted by Paul Komoda. You then have the Sideshow quarter scale, premium format or maquette. And then you have the Yoshihiko Sano Roswell 5th scale, Big Chap. All different scales, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, and all different poses. It's really hard to pose the Big Chap. In the movie, he spends most of his time hidden in the shadows to maximize suspense. Remember that, at the time that movie was made, the CGI technology wasn't near what it is today. So Ridley Scott had to use all the tricks of the filmmaker at his disposal to increase tension. He had to use mood. He had to hide the creature, save him, for those maximum effect shots. So when you take a creature like that operates best in the shadows and you put him under the light, it's tricky because essentially he's, despite Giger's amazing design, he's basically a guy in a rubber suit. And if you put him under the light, he's going to look like a guy in a rubber suit. And statues of the Big Chap are going to be pretty eerily reminiscent of a guy in a rubber suit. And so that's always been sort of a problem posing him. Sideshow went with the sort of creepy walk in mid-stride, and people, collectors at the time, there wasn't universal support for that. There was like, well, he kind of looks like Nosferatu, this little Nosferatu vampire type pose. There was a lot of criticism of the Alien Cinemaquette. People said that it looked like the alien was basically spinning on its one foot, like it's pirouetting in a ballet pose. And the Sano version, people complained was very boring, just like this little, museum pose, and it did feel like the scale was too small. So here we have a very unique pose. He's crouching, whether he's about to stand up, and his arms are open as if he's ready to give you a hug. The last hug you're ever going to get, but he has that kind of creepy, very stylized pose, and the tail is coming between the legs all the way up. I think this is actually from a scene in the movie, and then he slowly stands up. So I think that's a pretty amazing pose. I like it. It sort of hides or de-emphasizes the humanoid aspects of him when he's crouched like that. So I do think this is a very, very effective pose. I do like it quite a bit. And in many respects, I think this is probably, in my opinion, certainly the most interesting. And I like this pose, I think, of all of the ones I just mentioned from the three major pieces of the Big Chap that people talk about. Now, the disadvantage of this, of course, is that you can only appreciate so much detail. I can't really get too deep into the thigh and the chest area because he's crouched over there. So it's hard, again, to appreciate all of the work that went into that. It'll look a little bit better when I do it with flash. That'll light up some of that area. But just looking at this representation, it's easy to see the insane amount of work and detail that Bill Weiger, the sculptor, put into this piece. And that Chase Smith then took that and brought all of that to life. This is one of the best paint jobs of the alien Big Chap I've ever seen. It's beautifully done. It just reflects all of that work that was placed in it. So I'm just trying to take my time, really go close up, just kind of show you some, again, of that paint detail, the gloss, to give it that slimy look. Really, really nice base. Simple, with the word alien on it. There we go. Here's the detail of the tail. All the way up. I'm gonna back up. Get a sense of what he looks like from afar, from the back, and from the side. He's really big. He has an amazing presence to him. And I like to say that the paint job just really pops. No matter how close you get, it holds up. You can see all of the washes, the detail that Chase put into this piece is amazing. Here's a side view. The dome effect, he made it smoky. You can see the skull underlying it. And here, of course, is the chrome paint, the jaws, the teeth. Here's the other side. Top of it. Here's some of the back detail. What's there to say about the paint job and the sculpt that you can't see from these close-ups? And I'm gonna back up a little bit. And then again, you kind of see the whole thing. This is the first one that Chase painted. I think he is planning to do maybe 3 or 4 more. The kit, to the best of my knowledge, isn't sold out. It could be a little bit hard to get now, though. There were only so many castings that were made. But every single one of these that Chase Smith does is going to be like a masterpiece. Definitely a centerpiece worthy statue of the Big Chap for your collection. So if you have an opportunity to not only get it, but also have him work on it, and you have the funds, I wouldn't hesitate. It really doesn't get much better than this. There's a few other guys out there who can do this sort of work. There's a gentleman named Yavuz Kantoglu. He's based in Germany. And he is a specialist in predator and alien build-ups and paint jobs. He's phenomenal. Joe Dunaway, Wisconsin. One of the best as well. So there are others who can do this type of work, but not many. And the amount of effort and labor that goes into this is stunning. No factory can pull something like this off. And that's another thing that makes it sort of special, is that you can't get this paint job even from Cinemacat. The paint of the Big Chap, especially of the licensed factory models, just tends, and my criticism of those is they all just tend to be so flat. It doesn't bring out the richness of the potential of this statue. It's just different shades of flat black, excuse me. And you can argue, well, that's what the rubber suit looks like. But we're trying to create art here, and it's just so boring to do that. I mean, it's cheaper to do it. And so you really, to make those pieces pop, you have to, commission one of these masters to do it, and that's not going to be cheap. Whereas this thing just comes, of course, painted by, a professional right out of the gate, because it's a resin kit. And each one is going to be different in its own way. Back up a little bit. So again, sort of what I'm hoping to convey here is, when you look at this thing from afar, it looks amazing, it pops, it's majestic, there's a depthness and a richness to the detail of the paint. And then when you go really, really close, you see the same level of detail, you see the same level of variation. It still looks amazing. So definitely one of my favorite pieces, the best painted Big Chap alien in my collection, at least. So there you go. Now I'm going to take a look at it with flash on and see if we can take a look at some of the detail, especially on the chest and rib area, that's a little bit harder to do under natural lighting. Okay, so here we are with flash. Let's get some of that detail with the hands under the bright lights. Definitely looks a little bit different. Here's, as you can see, very nice shot now of the undersurface, the chest, the detail of the shoulders, and as it goes down to the crotch and the inner thigh. Here's the side of the head. Hopefully you can see a little bit better through the dome. Put the light on. And the detailed work underneath. Here's the feet. All the way up the legs. This is very, very close. This is macro level scale. And all that detail still holds up. Here's the back. Here's where the tail is coming off. Again, not many of these. bit of a chest detail from this angle now. Here it goes, very nice. This is, as you can see, where the flash really helps. Backing up. You can see the whole thing, and then we're gonna just kind of gently spin them around. Just a spectacular sculpt and a spectacular paint job to match. I'm going to put on the light function. So Chase did manage to put a little bit of a light up effect to kind of give you again that feeling of what it must be like in the shadows when he's stalking the crew of the Sulaco. So the next jump, let's see what he looks like with the light effect. Okay, so let's take a look at the light effect. With the base plugged in, you can see the little red plug highlighted for you at the bottom. If you press it like so, you'll see that the alien is now lit from underneath. This is a pretty amazing effect. I really love it. I'm going to slowly turn him a little bit so you can see what it looks like. We only have the light behind me now to give you a little bit of a look, but you can see that it's really beautifully reminiscent of what it must have been like on that ship. If you have a little bit of the light underneath, it just looks really nice and creepy. Very, very nice effect. I'm going to turn the backlight off, and we'll see if we can see anything better there. So here we go. So now this is what it looks like with all the lights off. And you can actually just sort of see the hint of something monstrous with a little bit of light shining from below. Can't see very much though. So there you have it. I'm gonna back up, turn the light back on. The Alien Big Chap, quarter scale, custom resin kit sculpted by Bill Weiger and painted by Chase Smith. Hope you enjoyed all of the different videos of him, both in the light, under the flash, and with the lights turned off to show some of the base effects. One of the best Big Chap statues available, in my opinion. Until next time, take care.